Hello. Yes. All right. The time has come indeed for our meeting to begin properly. So, kick things off. I hope everyone had a wonderful winter break. I most certainly needed the break. I hope the same for yourselves, that you enjoyed it. Um, but there is a lot to discuss indeed. A lot to discuss. Um, Starting with, as I have been planning this for a bit now, I actually was asked by Shrub not too long ago about it too. Um, my intention is, going forward, that the DM team or anyone else who has interest begins openly recruiting and running games for. It doesn't have to be, like 3 games a week or something like that. Just start recruiting within the Living World members who have the tag here, and start running games using our systems, using the world, using the setting, all that good stuff, and basically start, building up some hype, start getting people interested in the setting, get yourself used to the setting, get things of that nature with, and part of this though would be the games themselves. They don't need to be canon or anything of that nature. That said, if you are wanting them to become canon, that's certainly something we can discuss. So, like, if a player in your game, kills a vampire lord and saves a small town that they're from, and, at the end of it, you have, like, a little prologue or epilogue where, they get married and have kids, and they want to play one of their kids in the living world. That's something that's totally fine. Something to discuss. We can figure out how that would impact the region, but that is totally fine. Essentially, these are sort of training games. Yeah, you can look at them that way. They are to get you used to the world rather than get you used to just DMing. But also, keeps the interest alive for the living world, and it's just a way to play games because we haven't had any of those in a while, and it's something that I think that we could all use. Any questions on that?
Just so people understand that.
Yeah, it's probably not going to become canon, but it is potential. So
Yeah. Well, I'm not like saying no, they can't. I'm just saying that people need to, when we start recruiting people, can't be mad when they can't
indeed,
continue playing that.
yeah, it is true. Though of course they could, if they really like the character theme, they could just
Yeah.
reset to level 1 and continue on from there. Perhaps they got old and got a little tired, so they didn't really go adventuring for a couple of years, and that's why they're back to level 1. It's up to them how they want to phrase the backstory, but all's good. Let's go read the chat real quick. Indeed, helps us playtest stuff, gets people interested, and all that good stuff. Um, it's up to you what levels you want to run for. So if you are really used to running level 1 games, and you really want to test out like high level play, feel free. These are for whatever you want to do. Think of it as a test of your own skills, or a test of the universe, or what levels things you might want to test on it. If you are like, I already know how to DM all these different levels, I don't have any issues, and you're wanting to learn something from it, you can just start testing specific mechanics. Maybe you want to test out some new classes. You can certainly be like, hey, I'm looking for people who want to play this specific campaign where everyone's a binder, for example. Um, do you? There's no limit here. We do have levels 1 through 20 available on the monster creation, so that is viable. In addition to that, part of what I'm going to be doing would be working on the bestiary, so I can start just releasing that document for people to use. That way people can just look at it and be like, oh, Sage has already made, entire tribe of kobolds from like levels 1 to 12. And already have like the basic concepts of warrior, fighter, mage, healer on that list. So, things of that nature. But obviously if you do high level stuff, it probably will not be canon. Unless it's like extra planar stuff. So if like you're running a game in the Abyss, for example, it might become canon just because the Abyss is chaotic and just weird there. Yeah. Tokens will be provided with a bestiary, yes. Part of what I want to do before I start transitioning, because I have really old monsters that have really old tokens. I want to make sure that the framework is fully up to date before I do the tokens, which is why I haven't sent out bestiaries and things of that nature yet. But part of that discussion would also be discussing what Rhyme has recently posted, which is not in the order I have it listed on my thing, but that is also something we can discuss. The recently placed review document has some pretty interesting stuff in there, suggestions and the like, that I most certainly will be going over in peer review in more detail, where I start commenting on stuff. But if you haven't looked at it, do please look at it so we can get some more ideas on it and some suggestions and the like, and give your comments. Yeah. If you have a 404 on Syrik, like if you have a link for Syrik that says 404 error not found or whatever of that nature, or there be dragons, the link itself is borked because I changed the link's URL, thinking that be fine. It was not fine because I'm a derp. The only difference is the link, instead of being World Anvil blah 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 Syrik dash Altheo, is now just World Anvil blah 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 Syrik. You can also just try relogging in. I can post some more links. There's a few links on there still that I have not fully caught. I believe there's some on the race pages, just like you click on like Dragon, Draconian race sub-races and the like, and look at kobolds and dragons. If it links to that race on the page itself and not like the little article blip, the link itself would be broken most likely. But overall, things are slowly transitioning away from that, so it should stop giving errors, hopefully. And if you do find an error, so if you find a page that's saying, here's my 404, let me know and I'll fix it. Yeah. But if you do have it bookmarked, I would check the link to make sure you don't have the dash Sotheo involved. If you do, then you can just blap that and it'll work. Or you can just go Google Syrik World Anvil and it will pop up probably the #1 result. But yes, from that, for peeps who are working on regions, whether they be, DMs who are helping the region head or the region head themselves or the co-heads, with those who have completed documents, so, region has been written on World Anvil, or we have the document, I just haven't been able to get it on World Anvil yet, or you also have like basic mission ideas and concepts for what the region might entail. If you have that, you're freaking golden. From this point forward, you can start working on what you want the phase to be. So you can start working on like potential big bads for the phase, or general themes for what you want it to be about, anything of that nature. Start working with your team, start building missions, so we can get that, all set up. If you have not yet finished your region, get with me so we can start discussing anything that might be, holding you back, like writer's block or anything of that nature. And, we can get you all set up. I'm going to be giving people like a month, maybe 2, if people need extra time to, work on this stuff. If you, think that's too short, just let me know. But basically, this is just a check-in to see how things are going after a month with the regions. Obviously, there'll still be like meetings for the regions based on your region heads, but this will be me specifically being like, hey, how things are going. Am I good to put on World Anvil? Is the region ready to be set up for the living world? Because once the region is set up for Living World, like we have mission themes set up, we have missions written, even, that region's ready for us to be checked off. We can start the phase. And once all regions are checked off, we can start the phase. We can start the phase. Obviously, that might have some caveats to if Balance Team thinks that we need to hold off due to some of the rules not being fully fleshed out, because I know some of them aren't fully fleshed out. But the big thing we need to worry about is the regions being finished and the balance being prepared enough to think that we're ready to go. Any questions on that? Also, if you need my face regarding any balanced questions, just at me. I'm around. Or, questions in general.
Chrono's typing something.
Yeah.
Typing's, yeah. As far as things go, yeah, it's not fun for players to have to, like, retcon all their stuff because the changes happened after they made their characters. But, if things happen slowly, then having them happen is probably better than not. But, yeah, I'll try to make sure that doesn't happen.
If you need any help with balance, just let people know. We can get people on your team, help you out.
Well, it's less number of people. Well, okay, maybe number of people for like going through all the races. I was doing that, and I was like, oh god, there's like 150.
Yeah, there's a lot of races.
Brain guide. It's more, reaching consensus and all that understanding. But
yeah,
it'll happen.
Indeed.
When we're meeting again.
Hey,
yes.
Hey, we're halfway there. We just need Witch there.
Mm-hmm.
And Nerp, and then we have our consensus.
Yeah. Something we could also do. Obviously, this is less focused in terms of like a dungeon master's eye, because not everyone is a dungeon master. But if people who are in the community would like to, I believe comments are enabled on any of the race pages or any of the mechanic pages. They are free to comment and give suggestions on like, oh, this might be broken in this way. I will be looking at comments on those, so
yes.
that can help.
Players are always good at finding exploits.
It's true.
Like Shrub did with Warrior and Blighted?
I mean, Blighted by itself is just was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's not.
Yep. They are
still very strong.
Our friend.
Well, a good thing about his beta testing stuff is, well, since it won't be canon and players will probably have to change their characters anyway, we can use that as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely. If you are wanting to fully test things, as Uber suggested, inviting them to break stuff, it's definitely helpful for testing out systems. Just try to break it. Pull on a full the Royal Brit. No. That guy's Spiffing Brit. There we go. Yes, the Spiffing Brit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Any other notes, anything of that nature on this topic?
Chrono. Did we want to go with the idea of asking people about the race stuff?
In a bit. I mean, I'm just going through and looking at the races because.
Well, no. I meant the Tasha stuff.
Oh, the Tasha stuff. Oh,
yeah.
Yes. Okay. So the big ones are Tasha's Cauldron to Everything book. It is clearly outlining what Wizards of the Coast's future production for new race content is going to look like, which is definitely going to be relevant when they release their Splat book, which has a bunch of old races re-released and presumably new races. I think they're gonna have like 30 or something in there. I don't know. Basically, they are having everything be +2 to one stat, +1 to another stat. Tasha's Cauldron to Everything had it be, you can change your +2 and your +1s to a different stat.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it's mostly, are we going to follow the course with that? Or are we going to stick to the defined ASIs? Are we going to, for all new books of D&D, when they release a race, give them static stats as opposed to flexible stats, which they will have? That is going to be what is released from now on.
So any new book, splat book or otherwise, that has races, generally those will not be something that we'll be implementing because we already have a predefined massive list of races. Unless I don't actually have them on my race list and they would make sense. Such as if they make a Harpy race that's not currently on our world anvil, and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. Then we'll probably add it, because Harpies do exist. But if they're like, here's a new update to the orc, I already have an orc. We don't need to add their orc. That said, what we could do is actually have some races that have us listed as alternate racial options, such as the merfolks. You can choose to replace X with like the ability to change your tail into a pair of legs for like an hour. Having alternates as that is something we could do. So if, for example, we wanted to have our orcs be able to take an alternate to their ASIs, that is something we could do. But overall, I think we should stick with the core. Their stats are what they are. We don't need to worry about freeform stuff. You have it spoilered. I don't know if I should click it.
No,
It's not a real spoiler.
Okay.
You're good.
Excellent.
Yeah. Just ultimately that will be a choice that to some degree means going against the grain slightly of published books, which does make future things more annoying, but maybe not. Hard to say.
Yeah, I think with the number of races we have, I don't think it's going to be a real issue with future books on races, but you never know. Regarding Fizbins,
Dream, you're hype mocking.
You are hype mocking, yeah.
Hype mocking.
Regarding Fizbins, though, that book, I have given it a few glances and a brief read over. Overall, there's some decent stuff in there. I haven't given it a full rundown in terms of I like this, I don't like that. I don't know if you've done that either, Chrono, but it is something that I have been looking at. So
I like the change of the Dragon's Breath weapon from an action to a replacement of one of your attacks, but overall making it slightly weaker. But you have more uses of it, if I recall correctly.
Yeah. I actually think I updated the Dragonborn with that change when I saw it.
It's a nice change. Definitely makes it so you can just use your breath weapon.
Yep.
Whereas eventually you just stop being able to.
Indeed. As for the spells, so far I have looked at all the spells in that book. Some of them are very potent, but I don't recall any of them being immediately ban-worthy for me, like the Blue Veil one was from
Silvery Barb is banned. I'm just gonna say it. I'm never letting that one through.
Seconded.
I must say your reaction means I forgot about what that one did.
That is when you see something, anyone.
Oh yeah, I know. Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
Then they re-roll it, and someone else gets advantage.
Yep. I forgot about that one. I'm with you on it.
All right, nice.
All right. Beyond that, though, so for me, the new semester at my university is starting tomorrow. I don't have class till Tuesday, though, so I will be a little bit less available than normal. with the new semester, but overall I'm still around. You can still message me, and when I am available, I will respond. So if you at me and I'm not responding immediately, I always read my ads, so it will be read eventually. If there's something you absolutely need me to do and I'm not around or something of that nature, just put it in Firehouse and at me there, because I will mark it as unread, so then I can know to read it, because I must read all the ads. Let's see here. After today, depending on how much schoolwork I'm going to be slammed with, I don't think it'll be a lot, considering it's the first day of the semester, and that tends to be, just syllabus. But it is a production-based class, so maybe it won't be. But after the day, if my workload's not crazy, I'm going to start working on getting the Minecraft server back up and running properly. So testing out a bunch of new stability mods, dropping the server and bringing it back up to see how they work, putting out some basic calls to see if people want to help test it out. But overall, I think where we're at with the Minecraft server would be that I wouldn't worry about your town. The mods I'm going to be adding should just be stability mods. They shouldn't be any, world generation mods. But if they are, then, you have a bit of time before I do this to go in there with Schematica or the like and copy your town so you can rebuild it easily. If you, have a custom-made building, you can just Schematica it up and build in the next. In terms of resetting the map, I don't really have an intention currently to reset it, but I know people had some wishes to do so I'm probably going to put up a poll to see if people want it reset or to keep it as is. The reason we have it currently is because this particular seed has every single biome in Biomes of Plenty within the 10,000 block radius that we have as our world maximum dimensions, which is why we have it chosen, so people can go to any biome they want. So if we can find another one of those seeds, it won't be too difficult to change our seed, but that is the reason for it. Let's see here. Already covered that. I already covered that. All player-made stuff will probably be deleted once the server is officially launched from the Minecraft server. Just so everyone's on a clean slate. That said, you would have gained all the knowledge of how to do things, so you'd be a decent step ahead of people, because I have no idea how to build a town. I want to jump in and be like, this is going to be a slow going, but it's going to be a very interesting town when I'm done. Yeah, it's Legos-like. For the games I mentioned at the beginning, for them specifically, there is a folder in the Living World Google Drive under Adventure, under the Mission subfolder. Mission structure of the Living World, that's the document. At the very bottom, you should see a milestone, experience track, and thing of all that nature. Try using that for your games in terms of leveling up. We haven't had any counters to its use or anything of that nature, so giving it some tests would be helpful to see if we actually want to stick with it, or if someone can come up with a counter to it as an option. But that should work. I don't know if the map is fully proper to how I want the scaling to be for levels, like leveling from 1 to 2, from 5 to 6, and 9 to 10. But that has the basic idea of where I'm currently leaning towards for leveling up. Beyond that, though, any questions in general or anything of that nature? So, the old race ASIs, I'm not fully set in my ways in that. That said, switching to Tasha's version, where it's just take two, a +2 and a +1 to anything you'd want. That one does not fully fit with it because some races will have stats that just have to be. So, like a fairy, for example, they are tiny. They have to have a -2 to strength. You just can't not have that. They're tiny. Certain races, such as a Goliath, being a half giant, needs to have some bonus to strength or constitution. So that just has to be a thing because of their nature. I'm not against them having additional bonuses, such as like how base 5e a mountain dwarf has +2 strength, +2 con. So something a bit more beyond the +2 +1. But overall, some of them need to have these things. That said, part of what I was saying earlier about the alternate racial traits being like an alternate ASI, I'm open for. If someone wants to have like an alternate to the Minotaur, for example, where you can choose to take blah 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 versus blah blah blah, totally, not against that. Something to look at in terms of a balanced team, or I can just go through them and plot what I think is appropriate for the race itself. In addition to that, though, the races of the plains walking races, so Asmar, Genasi, and Tiefling, those three are template races, meaning that you apply them to another race. So if you were wanting to play a halfling, you could become like an Asmar halfling, for example, and that would change your ASI. So that kind of gives you the freedom to move things around, sort of like the +2 +1. You'll notice that some races do not have any of those notes, so like a +2 or a /2, /1, /x. Those options that are not listed cannot be chosen. They're just not available for that, as it's kind of innate to that race. So, like, basically saying that half of those races. So, like, if you're playing, a tiefling orc, for example, especially a tiefling Tanaruk orc, because you're already, very abyssal like that. Any of your abilities that are not listed as the X1 or 2, those are innate to the orc blood themselves and are lost due to the tiefling. That is the theme there. If it is an undead race, you'll notice that none of those abilities have any of those X's, 1s, and 2s. That is because they are template race. They can only be applied to others. It cannot. Unlike the Asmar, where you can be an Asmar elf and a Dampier all in the same go. It would be kind of insane if you did that, but technically you could. Once you're a Dampier, there's no additional template to be added on. You can't be like a Revenant Dampier. You're already undead. You can't really become more undead. And that is the reason behind the undead not having those markers. I'm going to read the chat because I see there's a lot of post-its. But any questions in that?
Oh, yeah, actually, I wanted to ask. I was reading through the races and I saw the references to the template things, but where exactly are the template rules?
Yeah, so template rules should be specific to any of the races themselves, but I probably should add a template race to the base race page on how they work and how people can use them. But if you look at like a half elf or a Genasi, they will tell you specifically under their I believe I called it ancestry trait how they function. So if you're wanting to be a half elf, they'll say ancestry. You can gain this ability if you're that, or you can gain this ability if you're that. Or if a Genasi, they'll say ancestry. You can replace X with Y. Being X being any of your 1-point abilities with another 1-point ability. That is the basic mechanics of it, though. As for potential +2 static but a +1 variable. I'm not against that either. Having races have that. The one exception would be any races that are tiny or of larger size that I might later add. I don't have any large races currently, but if I do add any of these, then they would have to have the penalty to strength for the tiny races, or anything I think that large or huge races would require. So they would be the exception to the rule if we do have a static and variable. As for the quets, I have no idea where that race template is. I'm not against them being applied. I'm also thinking, since quets themselves are fairly rare, I believe, for lore of that race specifically, but also because Quetzalcoatl are fairly rare in general. It could be an unlock race. So, if players do campaign in that region or do some campaigns somewhere else, it could be something that they can unlock. I know a lot of the classes I have are unlocked classes. So, like the Binder class, that was unlocked in my Sunday campaign. So players can now play the Binder. But any other questions? Yeah. Overall, I'm not against Quets just being a default race, but yeah. If we do not have it, like the racial document, we have to make it from scratch. It's easy enough to just have it be an unlock race again.
I think we have it somewhere. That or Pi has it.
Yeah.
No, it's been lost to time.
We can
Shout
always
out
just
to-
check World Anvil, but yeah. No, look at you making it. You having your things in a orderly fashion.
Look, at least once every balance meeting, it's brought up. Okay.
It's true. It is true. Do you have any references towards American versus British English? Overall, I think the population of the server is majority American, so stick with American spelling. I am I do cause this issues because sometimes I spell things the British way versus the American way, but yeah, that's on me.
That's because you like being a fancy fuck.
Don't judge me. Any other questions, things of note? Yeah, I mean, some of the British spellings I prefer. So, there is that. It's gone to the point where I do not know which one is British and which one's American sometimes. For the most part, if it has a U, it's probably British. That's my general knowledge, though. Yeah. All right. Anything else of note? Anything you guys want to bring up? Anything that you're like, we need to have this?
At some point, starting this week, I don't think the other economy head is here, but we're gonna start doing the economy meetings at least 2 every week. We're gonna try to start Tuesday. I'm sick, so I don't really want to start tomorrow. And whoever is in economy or wants to be in economy and join in, put in your 2 cents and all that. We have a list that we're like gonna be going through. So we're just put that out there and later today. The meeting's probably gonna be on after 5 on Tuesday. We'll sort it out.
Very nice.
That's what we're doing. We need to hit the ground running on economy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also need to work on my book some more. There's been a lot of magic crafting stuff going on, so I need to start fleshing that out a bit more, which will probably help you guys out.
Yes.
Let's see. I saw a question in chat. There it is. The Syrik map tools framework. I'm gonna be looking at it over the week, especially once I go through your peer review document in more detail, because there are some suggestions there that I was like, yeah, I can easily add that. But right now, the most recent version posted to the various channels that we have it pinned in is the most recent version. I haven't done any changes since then. Any other questions? Things of note? So regarding skills, we could have alternatives. I'm more of favor towards just DM choice, where if the DM feels the moment would be appropriate for a new attribute, they can just say, yeah, roll, intimidate with strength instead. That's the way I run things. But
I mean, like on the map tool frameworks.
Oh, yeah. I can see having a default versus an alternative to the framework itself. That's an easy clap right there, which will help you guys in Sunday because,
We like doing weird shit, yeah.
Yes. As a side note, one of the things I'm going to be working on as well, I don't know if we'll be able to get to it this week, but I'm going to be working on region maps for all of the Living World regions. So instead of having I believe my current map is 5 miles per hex, I'd probably have it be a 1 mile per hex or a half mile per hex. And probably won't be streaming the map creation of these region maps. I already have information on Baruja, but if you guys have anything new, before I start working on it, send them my way so I can start, combining what you guys have applied to what's already on the map and anything you might need for your regional information, such as your campaigns. Like, oh, we have a city here that's going to be pretty important towards, the overarching plot. So I can.
I actually do have a quick question.
Yeah.
For regions, are we trying to make them like their own little contained thing, or try to like encourage the moving around the continent?
So we don't need to encourage movement between continents, but between regions, that's fine.
That's what I meant. English is weird. I don't like it.
It's fine. Who needs English anyways? But yeah, moving between regions, that's fine. If there is things of that nature, definitely need to work with your adjacent region heads, so you can see how your campaign might fit with their campaigns and things of that nature. But if you're just doing like
the RP bits of it, like, should I try to focus a little bit more of like the southwest area?
Oh, you mean
encourage them to go to Kalbesh / explore around that way, or should I just like pretend it's only Arendelle and there's like a lot of travel time between?
I see. That's up to you. You can focus on a specific section of a region, or you can focus on the entirety, or focus on like the border, if that fits your current phases theme. Specifically for the overarching campaign of your region. If players want to run things outside of it, or not players, DMs want to run things outside of it for players. So if, you're focused on the border of Arendelle and they want to run games on the northern tip, obviously won't be fairly plot focused, but I wouldn't say they can't. Overall, though, part of what you just mentioned, though, did bring up travel time. I know that's something I enjoy. I do have things of this nature for it. Without thoughts of this nature, it'll be exceedingly difficult to pull off. I think overall, I might be typing because my kitty just jumped on my keyboard. It's okay.
We love Kit Kat.
Yes. Overall, I think as the current solution for this, unless we can get the travel bot set up, would be to every Sunday they can choose an adjacent region to be in. So like if you're set up in Arundel and you're like, I'm done adventuring here, I want to go to Calabash, you could spend your travel token, or whatever we want to call it, to go to Calabash on Sunday. And then you're in that region until the next Sunday, where people get their tokens again. And it just lets you travel to an adjacent region. You can be anywhere in that, essentially.
So basically everyone's on a pseudo vacation for a week. In that
Yeah.
region.
Basically, think of it kind of like Risk, where you move your troops to adjacent regions, and when you're in that region, everything you're doing in there is, you have access to all the channels for RP in that region. You have access to any missions in that region and anything of that nature, but you do not have access to any other RP or mission-based channel. And those are my muffins, kid. You cannot have them.
Give the kitty muffins.
They don't even want muffins. But I can't see chat anymore because the cat's blocking the screen. You need a. I know it's upsetting. It's okay though. You're adorable. It's fine. It's okay.
The cat's typing.
Yeah, it happens. They have no understanding or care that I have a keyboard.
Kit Kat for admin.
Yeah. Anyways, I lost my train of thought. Yeah, think of it like Risk, where you can move to adjacent regions and you have access to all the stuff in that region. Yeah, and once the week goes by, you're still in that region unless you choose to move. That's the big thing. Well, if you never played Risk, think of it like this. You have Arundel, you have Calabash, you have the free marches. You can move from Arundel to Calabash, or Calabash to free marches / Arundel. Because they're adjacent. Calabash is adjacent to both of them. Arendel's only adjacent to Calabash. Free march is only adjacent to Calabash. So that'd be how it would work.
Calabash is going to be a very big stepping stone.
Yeah. The other thing, and that is for land travel. If people want to spend money, something we could think about is saying you can spend the travel price for a boat to go from Arundel to free marches. Or spend, if you were like, I don't really like this continent I chose as the character creation, I want to go elsewhere, you can spend money to go switch over to the other continent. But obviously DM characters would have issues with that, because if you are a player in, Calabash, but you are a DM of Baruja, you would be limited in your choice there. Yeah, but that is a quick, simple way to do it. Otherwise, it should function like the previous phase, where people can, communicate in their particular region. Obviously, I prefer it to be channel restricted too, but without a bot or a way to do that, it would be difficult to do. So we will probably still have to have some people in terms of moderation to keep an eye on potential metagaming of that nature, because I know that was a big issue in the previous phases, where people were like, oh, this person was talking to this other person, I'm going to run over there real quick. Suddenly teleport 6 continents over. This way, they don't really teleport continents over, they teleport cities. Unless they have teleportation spell, in which case they can go where the fuck they want. Because, teleport. But we'll get to that when we get to that.
Yeah, a while down the line.
Yeah. Any other questions or anything of that nature? I meant region GM in terms of character and place GM.
Like, I'm not allowed to have a character on Schulte.
Yeah,
right.
If you're region head.
I can't play in my land. I'm sad.
It's cursed existence. But you can
How dare I not be able to solve my
murder
own political
all of your
issues?
players in your land, and That's its own
To be
level
fair,
of fun.
to be fair, just as no, don't take a boat to the island. I don't want to roll to have you die. Please, for the love of God, take the teleporter.
Yes, what they said. Because one of the things I do not shy away from is if players poke the beehive, they will be stung. If the stinging is death, there will be death. Obviously, anything that is of a death level beehive threat, we will have many warnings on it. In terms of travel or anything that would be an obvious warning. So keep that in mind. But yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Any other questions? All right. Well, it was good meeting all that good stuff. I see someone typing now. Just gonna wait a second. Excellent. Good meeting. Hope everyone has a good rest of the evening and all that good stuff. Appreciate your faces, and that is the end of the meeting.